So I recently started doing some work for a brand called Sunday Screens, and what they do is make visuals that are meant to be on really big LED screens. So what I did for them was take the visuals, put them on their own screen in Blender, put that in its own environment, and render that to be used on Instagram and other social media. And as I started posting them, those reels started performing really well. And it seemed as though instead of putting the visuals straight on Instagram just like that, putting them on their own screen in their own environment and then posting that to Instagram, people really responded to it. So if you are a motion designer and you want a really cool way, say to display your reel similar to the way that Quentin Duranzier did here on his reel, or if you want to show your asset packs or your motion graphics, anything you want, this is a really cool way to do it. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to set up your own LED screen here in Blender and show you the right way to go about that. Then I'm going to show you a simple environment to place around the whole screen to really make it look cool and really make it look nice. And if you want to take it even a step further, on Patreon, we did a really crazy one where we did all these lights around it, did some camera shake, and made a square screen. So if you even want to take this even farther, feel free to check out my Patreon in the description. But with that being said, let's get into it. So first what we're going to do is set up the screen, and we're going to get it to where the screen is bright, but it's actually not blowing out the image and illuminating the scene, and everything works really nicely together, which is a little bit more difficult. So what we're going to do is get a plane right here, and we need to set it up to be the right aspect ratios for the video that we're putting on it. So it is going to be a 16 by 9, 1920 by 1080 video, or if you're using a square one, then just keep it square, but it's best to know the aspect ratio of your video. So what we're going to do is make it on the X, 9, and the Y. We're going to do 16, and I'm going to hit S, and I'm going to scale it down. And I really don't like it that way, so we're going to do the opposite of 16 here, 9 here, and then scale it down. Here we go. So keeping it at a reasonable size, and sometimes to check to see if the size is reasonable, I'll just throw a primitive in there and go, okay, cool. So that's the general size it is, and we can make it maybe a little bit bigger. And then we'll hit Control A, and apply that scale. Now we want to unwrap this plane. So just to get it right, I'm going to hit Tab into edit mode, then I'm going to hit U, and I'm going to click on Project from View. Now go ahead and find whatever video you want to display on this, and also make sure you know how many frames long that video is. So throw it into Premiere or something else and see how many frames that is. I'm going to use a 300 frame video. So what I'll do is just open up a new window for shading. We're going to go here to the material preview and then change this over here to the shader editor and click new. Right over here, make sure you have the Node Wrangler add-on enabled, and we're going to hit Control T, which is going to give us an image texture, a mapping, and a texture coordinate. And I'm going to click and navigate to my video. I'm going to pick one of the renders from a course that I just recently launched, and I know, okay, this is a 300 frame video. We're going to throw it on there, and then here on the frames, tell it how many frames long it is, and where you want to start. We're going to start at frame 1, turn on cyclic and auto refresh. And now let's head over to our UVs and just fix these UVs. Even project from view didn't really work very well, but that's okay. What you can do is just highlight these, and we're going to fit it to the screen. And it certainly doesn't need to be an exact science, at least not for the video that I'm using. Just try to get it as close to that edge as possible. To fill in the screen, and just some simple UV editing. And we'll head back to layout, and if I hit spacebar to press play, it's playing perfectly. So that's what we want, and I'm going to give my timeline as well 300 frames because this is a looping animation. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to delete the principled, and we're going to add in a mix shader. We're going to have to do a little bit of fun here. Typically, you can just plug it right to an emission material and it will it'll illuminate, but that's going to create a problem that I'll show you. So first, let's get that emission material here, plug that there, emission node, and we'll plug this into the color. And if I start to bring up the strength of this, it is going to blow out. And just from experience, I know about a strength of 1 is about as bright as it's going to go before it blows out, but this isn't even close enough to actually illuminating the scene to actually look like there's an LED screen that's really bright and illuminating the environment that we're putting it in. So how do we fix that? That's going to be done with a little bit of light path magic. So let's go ahead and get in a mix shader, and then get another emission down here and plug it there. And we'll plug both of these into the color. And then for the factor, let's get in a light path node and use is camera ray. And this is what's going to do. We'll hop into cycles, and I'll just, let's go ahead and hit RX90. just to rotate him. And then just for now, I'm going to put a plane under it so we can actually see the light hitting it. And then I'll hop on over to cycles. So if I click on my screen here and I bring up the strength here, it blows out. And if I bring up the strength here, it makes it brighter. So this top one in here just controls the brightness of the light itself, essentially. And this guy controls the color. So if I were to take the color off of here, we could make this, pink, and this is still controlling the light. So we'll plug that there. And now you have control over the actual image itself and actually how much light is casting out, and you can play with those so they balance out. So this is a huge game changer for figuring out how to get this thing to essentially be a light and an image. Now that we're here, let's go ahead and set up the environment, and then we can set up some materials on it to finish off the whole thing. So what I'll do is I'll bring our screen right up here, and you can go ahead and title it screen if you want. There's not going to be a whole lot of objects in this scene, so titling isn't crazy important, but if that's your jam, that's your jam. I'm going to scale this up high enough so that the light doesn't, reflect to the end of it so our camera can't see it. So now that we have this, let's go ahead and hit Shift D and create the ceiling of our environment, and then let's hit Shift D one more time, and we're going to bring him up just a little bit farther. Now I'm going to hit him and hit H to hide it. And then here, let's go ahead and subdivide it. We're going to be creating those sort of ceiling things. I don't even know what to call it, like pillars or whatever. So I'm going to hit Tab to go into edit mode, right click and subdivide it, and just give it however many you think you need to kind of make those trusses or whatever actually visible. I think this might be enough. So I did 8 cuts here, and maybe one more. I kind of want there to be a pole or a pillar right here in the middle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit I twice for an inset, and then pick the thickness you want them to be. That looks about right. I don't want it to be too thick. Maybe we'll do it again. I don't want them to be crazy thick, but just enough. So something like this, I'm going to hit X and click faces. And now we have this, and we can bring that top plane back. Now what I'm going to do is go here to the modifiers, and we're going to add in a solidify modifier, and we'll bring it down to however thick you want it to be. And we'll add a bevel node and just give it a little bit of a bevel, something like this, and then give it some segments and then shade smooth. And so now we have this. And if you want your viewport to kind of look a little bit better, you can hit this drop down and turn on your cavity, and there you go. Now you can kind of see a little bit better what's going on. And let's pop into cycles just to see how this is looking. So now we have this so far built out, no materials added. So let's go ahead and add in those materials. Ambient CG is really the only place I get my image textures. It's completely free, not sponsored. So what I'm gonna do is get in, say, I wanna get this kind of like tiled metal floor for this thing. So if you just type in metal or even type in tile, it'll come up. And I can't remember exactly which one I used. Looks like I used Metal Plates 004 on the ground. So you can just go ahead and download the 4K PNG there, or any floor material you want. And then I looked up some concrete materials for the ceiling, and I ended up grabbing this one right here. If you are a real-time materials user, if you go here to this exterior category, we have 2 of those, pretty much the same concrete materials there. And then we do have some, and you can use some of these tiled ones if you want, or even the hex floors here might look really cool as well. Or you can use those image textures, whatever you want to use. If you are interested in the real-time materials pack, that is linked in the description. So let's go ahead and bring over a new window and go back to the shader editor. Go ahead N to remove this, and let's start adding these materials. So for this top piece here, I'm just gonna make it a very simple metallic material. It'll look cool because it's gonna reflect this LED here. Now for this top one, let's go ahead and click new. I'm gonna hit Control T, and I'm gonna open up wherever I saved my textures. So I'm gonna go ahead and import that color and tile it maybe by 3 will probably look pretty good for that ceiling. And then I'm gonna highlight these guys, I'm gonna hit G and move them, and then I'm gonna hit Control Shift D, and that'll keep it connected. I'm gonna click that 2, and let's go ahead and get in the roughness and switch that over to non-color and plug that into the roughness. Let's get a normal map, plug that into normal, and then I'm gonna hit, again, Control Shift D, open up one of these normals here and plug that right there into color. And then the extrusion is going kind of up like that. So I'm gonna hit RX 180, and that is going to get it looking right here. And then I'm going to bring that strength down just a little bit on that normal. And for the floor here, I'm just going to go ahead and import that same material, and then I'm going to click the number 2 just so we don't have to keep adding in those nodes, and then add in the same ones, but for the other material. So we're going to take this metal plates material and do the same exact thing. Add the color, add the roughness, add the normal, and add the metallic. All right, so now we are here. If we go here into cycles just to see how it's looking, it looks pretty good. I'm going to add a color ramp on this floor material and just bring up the brightness a little bit because I do want it to be a little bit more visible. And then on the roughness, maybe I'll just add my own roughness to this. I do kind of want to customize a little bit to be a little bit brighter for this floor material. And with that, I'm going to remove this window. I'm going to hop to the world settings here and bring that down to black. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the tilde key. It's right above the tab key for me. We're going to click on front. I'm going to hit Shift A and we're going to add a camera. And the reason why you want to hit the tilde key or just really face your viewport exactly in the direction you want to add your camera, and that'll keep you from having to like readjust it after it's in there. So now all I have to do is just pull it back and I'm going to hit 0. I want this to be a wide angle camera. So what I'm going to do is click on the camera here in the outliner, and then here in the camera settings, we're going to go here from focal length from 50 to a 24, mimicking a 24mm lens. And then we can click on this guy and bring him forward just like this. And then we're going to click on the render just to see how it's looking. And there it is. This is so far how it is. What we're going to do is if you want to, if you have the computer that's powerful enough to render volume, what I love to do is add a little bit of volume in the world settings. And so you can click on the volume tab and click on principled volume, and then just give yourself a very subtle amount of volume to add some atmosphere. Now, the last thing we need to do is actually show like what is holding this LED up. So I'm going to add like these bars going side to side that's like holding it. I think it's cool. You could have it holding from the ceiling or sitting on the floor. I liked it hovering, but having some context of like what is holding this thing, I think is very important and adds to it. So what you can do is click on the screen here, and I'm gonna hit Shift D and then just bring it back barely. And then you can add in a solidify modifier. And then you can just bring it back so it can be holding it. And then what I like to do is, of course, we're gonna have to remove the LED material from it, and we can swap it with the material that's up here. And so that's going to be material 002. And then what you can do, because I like to have some light, some backlight shining backwards, I'm going to hit Shift D on the screen and put one behind it. Is that realistic? No, because only the screen will be going forward, but it really nicely illuminates the scene, and I like the way that it looks. And then what we can do now is to get those bars going side to side. And so we can go ahead and get a curve and get a path, and then you can bring it up and then bring it to the middle of this thing we just made. So right about there. And then you can bring it up as your starting point and then just scale it up to, go all the way to the left and the right. And then you can add in some geometry. So click on the data properties here, click on geometry, and then here in depth, just give it some depth. Something like that, a little bit of Johnny depth, and then go to the modifiers and add an array modifier. And then on the Z, we'll give it a count of 4 and then keep it even. I'm going to go to my camera view just so I can kind of eyeball where I want them to stop. And that looks pretty cool there. And then here in the material, we can just still give it that same metallic material that all those other guys have. And we are set. Let's see how this guy looks in the cycles view. Super cool. What do I want to do here on this floor is give it, a little bit more roughness. So I'm going to view it here in cycles so I have a clear view of how that roughness looks. So if I give it no roughness, that's how it looks, and just give it a little bit so this can reflect right there on it. Then we can take our camera, I'm going to hit G and middle click and bring it in a little bit just so we can see it. So let's give this a render, see how it looks. I'm gonna pick a really bright frame, something like that, and let's render it. So there we go. This is how it's going to look as a final render. And you can adjust some things. I am regretting changing it to a brighter color. Now that it's more fully illuminated, I am okay with that tile being smaller. So we can go ahead and make that tile a little bit darker if we want, and this is how it's going to look. And if you want less reflection here, I switched it over to the I switched the texture over to the displacement texture just because for some reason the normal was acting weird. Maybe there's a fix there for that. But you can also here go to your specular and bring your specular down, and that is going to darken the reflection a little bit so it's less distracting, so you can still appreciate what's going on over here. And with that being said, you can press play and view it. Of course, it's going to be very slow in cycles. We can do one last view. We can do one last denoised view on this render and we'll be good to go. So here's what my final scene looks like. Let me show you how to export this and we'll be on our way. So let's go here to the printer icon, and I'm going to go ahead and go with 1920 by 1080. If you go back here to the camera icon, I'm going to go ahead and say 400 on the samples. That should be clear enough, and then the denoising over here can really take care of the rest. Here, pick whatever folder you want. I would recommend doing a PNG sequence just in case if Blender happens to crash, you can start where you left off. If you choose to not do that and you just want an MP4 finished ready video, what you can do is go from PNG to FFmpeg, colorment, encoding to MP4, and medium quality to perceptually lossless, render animation, and when you're done, you're gonna have something really cool like mine. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Again, if you want to check out sort of the expanded, like crazy version of this type of animation, I made another one just exclusively on my Patreon, along with tons and tons of other motion graphics related things on my Patreon. If you want to check that out along with everything else, that is going to be linked in the description. But thank you guys for watching. Feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.